Chapter 8. What I Cannot Tell Them. The hardest thing was not the power, or the future, or even the date. The hardest thing was the silence. Ethan had not understood that at first. In the early weeks he had imagined, in weak moments, that the silence was temporary. That one day, when he was older, when he could be believed, he would sit his family down and tell them everything. That somewhere down the road there would be a room where he finally said it out loud. I have lived this before. I know what's coming. I came back to save you. And they would believe him, and he would not be alone anymore. Lying in the dark with the cold breath fresh in his chest, Ethan finally made himself examine that fantasy the way he examined everything, and watched it die. He ran the versions. He imagined telling his mother. Susan, young and gentle and tired, who touched the top of his head every time she passed. He imagined her face as he tried to explain that her little boy held a dead man's memories and a coming apocalypse behind his eyes. She would not believe him, or worse, in some terrible way she would, and the believing would break something in her, would turn the warm, unguarded way she looked at him into fear, into a careful watching, into a mother who no longer saw her son when she looked at him, but saw the impossible thing wearing his face. He would lose the head touch. He would lose the singing. He would gain nothing but her terror. He imagined telling his father. David, who thought his boy would want the whole sky, David would try to protect him from it, would carry the weight to doctors, to priests, would spend himself trying to save his son from a truth that could not be unknown. And if Ethan somehow made him believe in 2027, in the tide, in the torn sky, he would have given the kindest man he knew 33 years of dread for a thing he could not lift a finger to stop. He imagined telling them about the date, about 1999, about the road. That one he could not even finish imagining. There was no version of telling a man the year of his own death that did not poison every day between now and then. Each version failed. Not because his family was weak, but because the truth was the kind of thing that did not save people when you handed it to them whole. It only crushed them. The truth was a weight one man could carry quietly or several people could be destroyed by openly. And Ethan had already decided, on the first night, in the first grief, which kind of man he was going to be. He was going to carry it. So he accepted the silence, fully, the way he had made himself accept the year 2027, by looking at it without flinching until it stopped being a wound and started being a fact. He would never tell them. Not his mother, not his father, not Emma when she came, not Marcus, not anyone. He would live his whole second life among the people he loved most in the world, and he would be, in the one way that mattered, entirely alone with them. The only person at every dinner table, in every shared bed of a sick night, on every Sunday in the basement, who knew what was really happening and what was really coming. He would smile and babble and grow and let them love a boy who did not, in the deepest place, exist. And he would never, ever, let them see the man underneath keeping watch. It was a cost. He let himself feel the size of it once, fully, lying in the dark, the long stretch of years of unshareable solitude opening out in front of him. And it was very large and very cold, and it ached in a place the small body had no words for. And then he set it down with everything else where he could not see it, and he did not pick it up again. Because self-pity was a luxury, and luxuries were for men who were not racing a calendar, and Ethan had a calendar to race. That was the night the first part of his rebirth ended, though no bell rang to mark it. He had crossed, in those first turning months, from a man falling through a cold place without stars to something steadier and harder and more deliberate. He had a map, and he knew its edges. He had a method trust, banked grain by grain, against the day he would need to be obeyed. He had a seed of real power in his chest that rose to stillness and could be held for the length of a breath, and a private certainty that it could be grown. And he had a silence he had chosen with both eyes open, a solitude that would be the floor he stood on for the rest of his life. It was not much to face a torn sky with. A toddler a secret, a single cold breath. But it was a beginning, and Ethan Cole had learned the hardest way there was that beginnings were not nothing, that a teapot could be saved, that a fire could be smothered before it caught, that the future was not stone. He lay in his crib under the slow-turning felt moon, 2 years old, alone by his own choosing, and he was not despairing. He was, for the first time, ready. Down the hall his parents slept, alive and unafraid, with no idea that the strangest and most fortunate thing that would ever happen to their family was lying awake 3 rooms away, keeping watch over all of them. Ethan closed his eyes, emptied himself, and reached down once more into the dark behind his breath, toward the cold seed waiting there, and turned, at last, fully toward the long work ahead. The years were coming. He meant to be ready for every one of them.